I'm Blake Angelos, Yamaha here on the NAMM live stream. And I'm going to do a little presentation on this brand new instrument. This is the new CP series from Yamaha. There are two models, the CP 73 and the CP 88. Now the difference between the two really is the action design. On the CP 73, it's an E to E balanced hammer action, so it's very similar to the Montage feel. It's very lightweight, 28 pounds. We kind of look at this as the product for the gigging keyboardist. This goes to the gig. It fits perfectly. I have a very small car, and I can put this in the back seat, no problem. Still have room in the back seat with the case that we have. We have killer cases for it as well. So that's the CP 73. Now, in front of me here is the CP 88. So the CP 88 is an 88-note graded hammer, natural wood action with synthetic ebony and ivory key tops, and it also has the GH3 sensor, which allows me to restrike the note before it comes off the bottom. So it's a very amazing pianistic feel. It feels like a grand piano. It's easily the best action I've ever played in a Yamaha stage piano. I love this action. So we look at this as being for kind of the discerning pianist. So for the gigging keyboardist, discerning pianist. Other than that, they are identical internally. They have the same sounds, the same in and outs, the same connectivity, the same. This is actually the first stage piano where I can see myself having both of them. This would stay in my studio for a practice, and that goes to my gig because it's lightweight, because they're voice compatible. So let's talk about this instrument. Basically, the CP is divided into four sections: a piano section, an electric piano section, a subcategory section, and then a master section. Now over here, I have a live set area where I can grab and select sound. So any panel setting that I have with these switches on and any configuration I can save for instant recall over here on the left. I can also set split point, transpose, touch setting. That's what happens over in this section. But let's talk about this area here. So you notice that there's these cool switches that are underneath each of the sections. So I have a section here for the acoustic piano, and I went ahead and I turned that on. I actually recalled it over here, and I'll play some of the acoustic pianos in here. Notice that each of these sections have a very similar look in this black area here. You have volume and tone control, split point area where you can set it left or right, octave up and down, and a selector switch. The yellow area is for acoustic pianos with a yellow LED and a yellow selector here that selects grand piano, upright pianos, CPs, and layered pianos. So let's start with the grand pianos. So what you're hearing here is the Yamaha CFX 9-foot concert grand. So the thing about the CFX that I really love about this particular piano is it has a very strong fundamental. It's not super, super resonant. It still has this amazing sound when you're playing very soft. But when I play very loud, it really, really cuts over the top of a symphony orchestra. The real CFX has that ability to do that, not because it's louder, it's because it has a very strong fundamental. It's a very pure sound. And what I like about this piano is that it's pretty much good for any type of music. It's great for classical, it's great for jazz, it's great for country, rock, anything. Now, I'm gonna move on to the next piano, which is the Imperial Concert Grand. But first I wanna play this. There's the CFX. Now what I just did here was I switched to the next piano, but you notice that the previous piano sound did not cut off. That's because you can seamlessly switch between different sounds in here. So this, let me go back one more to the CFX. Now I'll switch to the Bosendorfer. Totally different sound on the Bosendorfer. Bosendorfer has a lot more note bloom. For one thing, the Bosendorfer Imperial 290 is a piano that has a C to C 8-octave action. So it actually goes below the low A on most pianos. And this doesn't do that, but what it does give you is that resonance that that big soundboard provides. So a very resonant, beautiful Bosendorfer Imperial 290 piano. I love this piano for a lot of different things, for more moody stuff. It's a great piano, great piano. So I'm going to move one more over and I'll show you the C7. Now I want to talk a little bit about where this C7 came from. The C7 doesn't actually show up when you buy the instrument. You have to update the OS with CPOS. This is part of what you get when you get a CP. We will have regular OS updates that will provide you with new sounds. So OS 1.1 launches at this launch date right now that adds a C7 piano, a really killer 67 silver top Tyne piano that's actually sampled from an instrument that's used all over LA as a backline, as a favorite if you want a really vintage Tyne sound. And then there's actually a reed piano sound that belongs to the sound designer, which is this perfect reed piano, this 200 series reed piano. But I'll play the C7 here real quick. Now, what I love about the C7, other than the fact that it's probably the most recorded piano in the history of music, is that the C7 has a extremely beautiful low velocity sound to it. So when I play softly, it's very expressive, but it has this gospel kick to it when I... It's got a big cut through it. This will cut right through a mix, and it has that sound that I love, especially for rock, country. But it still has this wonderful soft layer too. I could use this in rock, country, gospel, anything. Love this piano. Now, the last piano I want to show you in this category, and now I'm doing this by just selecting it with the one-to-one interface, which is really cool, but I can also just go here and call this out of my live set. It's number 5 right here, so I can either touch this 5 button and it recalls this piano here. Now, this is a U1 piano. This U1 has a ton of character. This sounds like something that's been played in for a little while in a studio. That sound just gets right up in my body, I'll tell you. I feel like this is going to be a very iconic sound of this instrument when people play it. It just has this wonderful, just, I don't know, homespun feel. U1, love this piano. So let me move on over to the reed piano section, or rather the electric piano section is what I meant. So the electric piano section has reed pianos, Tyne pianos, claves, and DX sounds. There's some nice FM sounds in here as well. Now in this category, remember I said that these sections in the black area remain the same, but what changes are the stomp box style effects that are in this section. So you have the top level, you have auto pan tremolo and wah-wah effects in the top one, and then the bottom one has our VCM phasers and choruses. Virtual circuitry modeling. We have these really, really cool effects that are built in to this area that just have this authenticity. So I'll play some of these sounds. This one's the 73 RD, and I'll start off without the drive on. So drive is a preamp drive that I can control. So I'll play it first without the drive, and then I'll turn on the drive, and you'll know why I always leave the drive on. But I love the sound without it anyway. Okay, now I'll turn on the drive. So once again, drive off, drive on. I love that sound with that added oomph that drive gives. Now I can turn this up too, so if I really want to overdrive it a bit. Love that. So now let's say I want to add some of these effects here. It's like having 2 killer stomp boxes. Actually 6, because I have all these different effects. 6 effects per effect processor. So I'll turn on the VCM phaser. And I have these instantaneous controls for depth and speed. So if I want to take the speed really fast or slow, I can have like fast, or rather a slow speed. I kind of like bringing this down, so I have this. So cool. All at your fingertips. That's what I love about this interface. Again, it's a one-to-one interface. Each knob does one thing on this front panel. There's no menu dives or any of that stuff. It's a one-to-one interface that's fast. It's just a joy to play this thing. So let me move on. I'll play a couple more of these reed, or rather Tyne piano sounds is what you're listening to here. Here's one that's the 78 RD. This is more like kind of a more modern sound. So a little bit more of a bell sound. It's got a nice low end on there as well. I'll move on to the 75 RD. Now notice that's the previous one, but I moved from this sound to a new one, so there's seamless sound switching in here. So the 78 RD Funky is what this one's called, has a lot of bark in it. This one's a great one to play with something like a wah-wah effect. So I'll select something like the touch wah effect right here. Or another one is the pedal wah effect. Because I have an FC7 down here, I can use it like a wah-wah pedal. Cool, awesome, love that. So now let me switch over to some of the reed pianos. So I'll move this down here. Here's one that's called WR Warm. So this is kind of a warm sound, and I'll engage the tremolo for this because it's kind of an iconic sound with the tremolo. So that's the warm sound. Here's one that's a brighter sound. And then with version 1.1, you have one more sound in here. This is called WR Wide. Now this is with it turned on with a drive. You, that's why I always leave that drive on. It just adds this extra to it. But if you want it off for a mellower sound, you just turn it off. You want more drive, turn it up. Again, that one-to-one interface is awesome on this product. So the last thing I'll show you is one of the things I love about this instrument. I'm going to use this master section over here. So I have a live set that I've saved in here that's called CFX Loop Layer is what I call it. Now I'm going to start out here without the delay on. There's this cool guitar sound that I found that I just love in here. With the tremolo effect in the subcategory section. So what I'll do is here, I'm going to turn this down a little bit, and I'll turn on the delay. Now the cool thing about the delay, there's two types of delays. There's an analog tape style delay, and then there's a digital delay. And then I have this button here that selects piano, electric piano subcategory, or they're all on. And what that means is that when they're all on, when I move the delay, it affects all the parts. But I can individually set send levels for each part. So you can do some interesting things. I can have a lot of reverb on the piano and none on the electric piano, and delay only on the subcategory. So you have some flexibility there. But what I've done here is I've set it up where I have basically an ultimate delay set for these two parts and then no delay for the piano. And you'll see what happens here. Check it out. that is just fun to create these delay lines and these cool layers with that effect. Absolutely amazing instrument. I love playing this. You can probably tell everybody that plays this feels that way here at NAMM. They just like, this is the best action I've ever played in my life. That's what I hear a lot of. It's truly amazing. Last thing I'll talk about here is some of the connectivity. So on the back you have XLR outputs and 1/4-inch outputs, so you can send the XLRs to a mixer without the use of a direct box, so they're balanced outputs. And then I have unbalanced line outputs, so I can run those maybe to a set of studio monitors in front of me, or floor wedges or whatever for my personal setup for monitoring. That's very cool. Other things back here, you have two switch inputs. One of them is a sustain pedal. It comes with an FC3 in the box, so you have the continuous sustain as opposed to just switch on and off. You also have an assignable switch here that I can assign to do things like basically anything on the front panel, turn on and off the drive or whatever. And then 2 foot controllers. One could be for volume, the other one could be for wah-wah effect, or I can use the foot controller to maybe fade in a string sound if I want to, because that's assignable as well. You also have USB 2 hosts. Now, what does that 2 host give you? You can connect directly to a computer using USB MIDI and audio. So you get 2 channels of audio to and from the computer. The benefit of that is this goes to the gig with 1 cable with your laptop, and you can play your virtual instruments just with this, and it'll output the virtual instrument sound through the outputs on the back. So that is very cool as well. The last thing I want to talk about, this 2 host port that you can also do, is it's iOS compatible. If you have a USB, the Luca, it's called, what is it, Lightning to USB camera adapter is what Apple calls it. But all it does is it takes a Lightning to your phone, and then you have a USB input, so I can connect a USB and I can play virtual instruments off of an iPad or an iOS device or an iPod Touch or whatever. But we also have an app that's called Soundmondo, and what Soundmondo is, it's a website, just soundmondo.com, that is a social sound sharing site. We launched it with the Reface line of synthesizers. We added Montage and Modi X to that, and what you can do is you can save sounds in this cloud-based sort of social sound sharing network and download sounds from other users, from artists that put it up. In fact, one thing I like to point out is that if you're a Modi X user, Richard Devine, who's one of our collaborators here, he actually has put up a bunch of his really killer FM style, very cool synth sounds. You can get all those for free. So CP will be added to Soundmondo as well. So you'll be able to upload your sounds to Soundmondo for your CP, download sounds to your CP. We're working on getting artists to put their sounds up. Very cool. So Soundmondo compatibility is a very cool part of the CP experience. One of the last things I want to talk about is just the design of this instrument. I pointed out some of the things. The fact that there's, in the piano section, it's a yellow rocker switch with a yellow LED and a yellow indicator. And then when I turn on the electric piano, it's a red switch with a red LED. It's just nice design touches. This is a solid aluminum alloy, single kind of metal construction on this guy, which is very, very durable, yet lightweight. 41 pounds on this instrument. This one's 28 pounds, so on the CP73, so very lightweight. Cool gig bags for it that are not just, you know, standard plasticky gig bags. These are really nice gig bags that they're so nice inside that I've joked that I would sleep in that bag. It's really, really nice. So that's basically it on the CP. CP88, CP73 stage pianos, new at NAMM 2019. Thank you so much for watching this live stream. Be sure to catch all the other live streams. Some great stuff coming today. I have a 2-part interview coming with Nick Semrad, who plays in Corey Henry's band, one of the most absolutely creative keyboard players I know that's working today. I'll do a couple of interviews talking to him about CP and about Modi X later on. There'll be Manuelo Montesanti. You've got to watch him do his performance because he's such a great player, and he's done some really killer music that he'll play a concert basically for you on the CP later on. But stay tuned to YamahaSynth.com or Facebook, the Yamaha Synths group. We're also streaming there as well. Once again, this is Blake Angelos live from the Yamaha booth in the synthesizer area at NAMM 2019. Thanks for watching.